In the last episode of this series, we outlined a new idea of the correct orientation and position of the neck and head. Contrary to the prevailing advice around forward head posture, we will be moving the head forward of the torso. Today, we'll begin to look at how to do that in a rational way. Before we begin to manipulate our head, we need to get our torso and our back at least a little bit lengthened and widened. I made a whole 12-video series on the torso, so I'm not going to go into the details on that here. If you're looking for more information on that, watch that series. Our starting point for the procedure we will look at today is to be standing in front of a wall. You want to be at a distance where you can place your hands on the wall. In this case, you will put what we call the cutting edge of the hands against the wall. You can think of it like a karate chop, where the pinky side of your hand is against the wall. You want your hands to be about the height of your eyes. Next, you can make a preliminary adjustment to your torso. Most people will be drawn forward towards the wall by this setup, so give yourself the directions to pull your iliacs back and up away from the side of the knee, pull your lower ribs and lower sternum back away from the wall, and lift your rib cage up away from your pelvis. Many things can happen during just that adjustment. You might find that you've moved your torso back so that you're not leaning forward so much, but you may also find that you've pulled your head, shoulders, and upper torso back, which we don't want. If that's happened, you can try the adjustment again, and remember to direct the tips of your elbows forward, out, and down. Do not let the shoulders or elbows go up or back. Your elbows should be well below your hands. If you keep your arms extended forward, that can help you keep your head and upper torso forward as you bring your mid-torso back from leaning forward. If you've still moved your head and upper torso back during the adjustment, don't worry, that's what we're here to look at. From this position, we can consider the following gesture. Can you move your face closer to your fingers while keeping your torso back? That is, not letting your torso go forward with your face. Doing this will stretch the neck and will likely feel odd. Now we must look at the pitfalls to avoid, because most people will struggle with doing this. I implore you to use a webcam or camera to record yourself while you do this procedure, or to have someone observe you so they can tell you what's actually happening. This is crucial, because it's really easy for us to think we're doing one thing when we're doing something else entirely. That is especially true for movements of the head and neck. We have very deep habits in our head and neck, habits we are often not remotely aware of. It's extremely easy to deceive yourself here. So if you really want to make progress with this, record yourself or get a friend to observe you. The first major problem people will encounter is that they will move their lower sternum forward at the same time that they move their head forward. It's as if we aren't aware we can move our lower sternum in one direction and our head in another. We really want to work on breaking this irrational linking of movements. Instead, we want to think of coordinating the movement of the head forward with the movement of the lower sternum back. These two movements fit perfectly with our idea of rotating the rib cage so that the top goes forward and the bottom goes back. With this procedure, we are not looking to just move the head. We want a rotation of the rib cage. When you move your head forward, that should coincide with you pulling your lower sternum back. The upper sternum should not be back relative to the lower sternum. The second major thing to consider is how you move your face forward. We will define 2 points on the face to help us with our adjustment. First, we will have the corner of the mouth, which is on the upper lip at the corner of the mouth. The second point will be the corner of the eye. You can feel the bone of your skull at the edge of your eye, and that's what we'll call the corner of the eye. Many people will find that they move the corner of their lip forward, which is good, but they'll find that they move it forward faster than the corner of the eye. As a result, they will end up, in effect, tipping their head back and down. That's not what we want. Most people already have a tendency to tip their head back and down. We don't want to make that worse. Instead, our directions will be to move the corner of the eye forward faster than you move the corner of the lip forward. Both will go forward, which means the whole face will go forward, but we don't want to tip the head up or down. That is the other major problem we must avoid. We cannot go forward and down. To be clear, most people in their first attempts at this will move their head forward and down, but they won't feel it. They will feel like they're going forward and up. That is why having a video or having a friend observe you is so crucial. Your feeling sense will deceive you, so make sure you have some visual feedback. The last thing to consider is that you don't want your back line to come forward as your head goes forward. We want to keep the distance between the back line and the back of the arm. Many people will find their back line comes forward with their head, and that will reduce the lengthening of the neck that we're looking to get. If you place a yardstick or stick under your armpit, the furthest point on the side of your body will be called the rib at the back of the armpit line. This point is not on the back, it's on the side of the body. This point would optimally be straight above the back of your pelvis. That's not what you'll find in most people though. Some may find that because their rib cage is rotated forward at the bottom and back at the top, that they don't have much of a back in this area. If that's the case, this procedure may be too advanced for you. You might want to start with just adjusting the torso. But if we have at least a bit of a back here, we can use the directions to keep the rib at the back of the armpit line back and up, so that it stays high above the back of the pelvis as you move your head forward. Doing this will be a real stretch of the muscles and fascia in the back, neck, arms, and really the whole body. All in all, despite seeming like a pretty basic procedure, there really is a lot to consider with an adjustment like this. But it can open your eyes to how much you are retracting your head. And if you're able to get your head forward and up, that can actually help you keep your mid-torso back. We are creating a new equilibrium for our body. Give this a shot if you feel you're ready, and make sure to remember that keeping your torso lengthened is more important than getting your head forward. You don't need to try to get your head all the way forward from the beginning. You didn't get into your postural problems in a day, and getting out of them won't happen overnight. But you can start to work to overcome your habit of retracting your head. Now let's think about the larynx, which is the voice box. It's right here at the front of the throat. Here's a question for you. When do you want the larynx to be pulled up, and when do you want it to be low? Have you ever thought about such a thing? Experiment a little and try to make a guess. Then join me next episode, and we'll start to explore this area of the neck.